And welcome back to Champion Spring, and Faker getting the MVP for his Anivia game. That's right, I said Anivia game.
His first ever.
His first ever,
His
very
first
successful.
Ever Anivia game.
2-1-8, 71% kill contribution, looking good. 700 MVP points, tied with Smeb, just below Duke, who has had kind of a monopoly almost on MVP points on Najin. Didn't even want to give one a tank today.
Great stun. On to Chaser right there, allows for a nice follow-up from Bengi. I mean, honestly, Doa, I think Wolf probably deserved it. But it's another Q right onto Trace. They stun lock him until the end of time. And then coming in here as we see the attempts at Baron by Jin Air. And then swapping right there with Bang. And then another great wall to isolate Trace. They lock up GBM. GBM gets his ult up, but he is exhausted, so it just doesn't do anything to mega tank team composition that is SK Telecom.
You know, and with these mega tank team comps coming back in, you know, when do you think we're going to see the carries come out that can handle them? You know, the Vaynes, the Caitlyn's potentially. Tristana, Jinx maybe.
Yep.
Jinx is a bit too dangerous, but you get the idea.
You may have been able to play Jinx here.
Yeah.
May have been able to play Jinx here, but yeah, I agree with you. These are champions that we may see returning to the meta, especially with all of the ultra tanks coming into vogue. GBM just gets locked up there. That was a really good stun onto him, so he couldn't even use his ults before he died.
Piglet's going to be happy in NA. He can maybe play that Vayne again. I guess it hasn't stopped him, though, but he can play it and it'll be good now.
Maybe happy is too strong a word, though.
He'll be enthused. We'll put it that way. Enthused at legitimate Vayne play. And so GBM, a tough loss, and a tough loss for all of the Jin Air Green Wings, but it's a best of 3. They've got a chance to bring it back. And, you know, with a different AD carry, with a little bit tighter mid-game, they could have taken that one. They played fairly well.
They got a 4,000 gold lead, which is what they needed, but they lost some of those dragons, which they needed to be the ones dictating the pace of that game, not SK Telecom. And they needed to have a little bit more staying power in the late game. So where do you go from here if you're Jin Air? I feel like they've been exploited for their early game focus. It's hard, though, against this ultra tanky team composition that we're seeing come into play, because Jin Air's a team that has been thriving off of poke. Xerath, double AD, and they need to make some adaptations now, because if you play poke into this, there's so much engage in the current meta.
Yeah.
And the tanks don't take that much poke damage before you can find an opportunity to engage. You can't really poke them out before they can engage on you.
Well, we said it coming into this that SKT, or that Jin Air rather, would have to adapt the most with 5.5, and we saw it hurt him a bit in game number 1. You know, what's going to happen in game 2? Picks and bans time, and there's the Anivia ban against Faker, just not wanting to deal with it. Wow.
Lulu again banned here. If I was SKT, I guess I wouldn't be as worried about that, even though, you know, SKT with Faker in the mid lane doesn't play that much Lulu.
Yeah. Certainly
not a specialty of Marin, so I understand. But even so, that more utility-oriented laner may actually serve SKT well. Xerath also banned out once again. So Maokai available, they will probably take it first.
Yep. With Rek'Sai banned as well, might as well take that Maokai away from Marin. Kalista is up. That's true.
Oh, wow. They gave away Kalista.
And it looks like SKT is not going to hesitate to pick that up immediately. Will we see the Jarvan instead of the Sejuani, though? Do you feel like that's a little bit dangerous? I mean, Kalista can really add a lot of damage into a team that's been hit with a Sejuani ult.
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah, I think that's much better. I agree with you. And Sejuani Kalista will be the grab. So what is the answer to this Kalista? Kalista has been proven to be such a lane bully that pretty much means Jin Air is going to have to lane swap unless they think they have an answer.
Well, Jin Air knew they were giving this Kalista over to SK Telecom, so you don't do that without a plan. Graves could be part of it.
Wow, going for another burst AD. Interesting. Not sure about this.
Well, if SKT just, you know, grabs a bunch of tanks too, you're not going to have a backline to blow up with collateral damage. It might get a little bit tough again.
You have to believe that's their plan.
Yeah, I guess so. But, you know, watch Faker just play mid-Cho'Gath or something like that, you know?
Well, he's been playing in solo queue, so he very easily could take that away.
Or Urgot, for that matter, too. What the what? Is it Cloud Templar troll or is it legit? This is the question we have to ask ourselves in 5.5.
I think they're going to do a pick comp. Oh, no.
Oh, wow. Oh. Switching up at the last minute. Looks like it's going to be Jarvan instead.
I'm sad.
Yep. You know, a Mumu Skarner, though, not as bad in 5.5. Potentially viable. And SKT may go ahead and grab that Trundle this time around. It worked pretty well for Trace.
I was wondering if Marin had this in his pocket or not as to whether he was going to be able to play it because having that Maokai Trundle matchup, you have so much pressure. I mean, Hecarim at least can fight back with Trinity Force. Maokai really can't in the late game.
Well, Trundle isn't exactly the most mechanically demanding champion, so
true.
If you know the theory, you should be able to pick him up pretty easily.
This is a good point.
He's more of a thinking man's champion, you know. A little bit less quick on the fingers, a little bit heavier on the brain.
It's my kind of champion, Doa.
That's right. You like the Trundle? Yep.
Well, I certainly am a mechanical nightmare, so yes, that's pretty much all I can do.
That's why you play Gangplank, right? Build crit items and walk up and click on people.
Oh, wow, Gnar.
Really?
Well, you can set up a Gnar ult really easily with Sejuani ult, but
Hecarim, okay.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yep.
Instead of taking Thresh for Wolf.
Team Ghost for SKT. Thresh, Hecarim, Kalista.
Time for Jin Air to play some Ghostbusters.
That's right. We need a Ghostbusters Graveskin. That actually wouldn't be too bad. Oh, Ryze would be interesting here.
That would actually add a lot of late game punch, but oh man, Jin Air, don't do this again.
I don't know, man. I mean, this team again,
They have even less damage now that they have a Maokai in the top lane if they actually go with the Lissandra.
You can see him agonizing over it. I think the Karthus is a stronger pick. Safer. And I think safe is what Jin Air needs.
Yeah, you have good primary engage for Karthus to follow up from. SKT, not the best at kiting. Now, is he going to be able to get in on that Kalista, though?
Well, that's kind of the trick, right? I mean, you would theoretically be able to do that with Lissandra, but I think just the damage from Requiem late game is going to be pretty helpful. So what is Faker going to play?
Also, they have good hard CC in the side lanes and good burst here, too. So Chaser has good ganking targets that he can select.
You know, I mean,
top and bot.
We could just see a lot of engage onto this Karthus.
The Vlad.
He's been playing it a lot in solo queue.
Yeah, he's been playing it a lot in solo queue. He's already got the Ghost loaded up, so I imagine this is going to be a Vlad pick in the end. Does have that strong sustained damage. Can dodge the Requiem as well, but it's not the greatest pick against Jarvan is the thing, because you can really bottle Vlad up in there.
He's just mad that one of the Team Ghost members was taken by Jin Air. Karthus wasn't available, but it will be that mid Vlad for Faker. So Anivia into Vladimir. That's going to be the champions Faker's playing in our first two games tonight. And SKT with a pretty scary composition.
I think Jin Air, this is a good adaptation, though. They go for the Karthus this game.
Yep.
Try for something that will have a little bit more damage late.
Very true. It's all a matter of that Karthus getting in, though. And SKT has a lot of good ways to prevent that from happening.
Yeah, Faker's only ever played one Vladimir game as well, so this will be number 2. 1-0 so far, but we knew that this was a possibility alongside the Cho'Gath, and with this really tanky meta, I mean, we got to see some more of these autoing ADs that really have more presence in the late game. We really start to have to start seeing that in order to bust the tank line here.
Yeah, you really wonder what Pilot's going to do in the late game here, and I think the answer is going to be probably not much.
Well, Bang also, with the Kalista builds that we've been seeing with Bloodthirster first, is also potentially not going to be doing much.
That's true, that's true. But if he picks up the Runins later on, at least he'll be able to get a bit of AoE.
Well,
maybe.
If he's lucky, there's a lot of AoE coming in that he has to worry about as well, and he has to get in pretty tight in terms of range in order to get those abilities off. So it'll be a struggle for the AD carries, that's for sure.
Whenever it's a tanky meta, it's always tough on the carries, but let's see if Jin Air can tie it up. It's time to get into game number 2. Well, here we go. Jin Air trying to tie things up against SK Telecom here in a pretty important match when it comes to seeding for the playoffs.
Faker starting boots this game, hoping to dodge some of those lay wastes and just farm his way up.
Yeah, makes sense.
Jay once again on the ante. Jin Air has the very strong possibility to get some kills in the early game here. They have the composition to do it, certainly. They can punish all of the lanes pretty much, especially if Faker's flash is down. That Cataclysm, Jarvan is really good against Vladimir.
Well, that's kind of the issue, though, right? Is Jin Air has been able to get kills in the early game. They've been able to get those leads, and they just haven't been able to close it out when it comes to these matches. We saw it against the GE Tigers. We saw it in game 1 just now. I think SKT knows exactly what they need to do to beat Jin Air.
Yeah, that said, Jin Air does have a little bit of a different agenda this game, and at least they pick something that scales a little bit harder and can deal more sustained damage in Karthus. So I don't think their composition holds that same level of weakness.
It's not as vulnerable, but it's not so much about the comp, it's about the team, I think.
Yeah. Well, we will see the lane swap. Not too terribly surprising. Don't want to be in the Kalista lane. Don't want to have Hecarim beating up on Maokai early on.
Yeah. And Faker just dodging right around those layways. Man, he just walked right up.
Yeah, well, that's Faker for you. He only plays aggressively ever.
Yeah.
That's what's one of the things that's so difficult about playing him is look at what he does. Like, what? Who does this with a level 1 Vladimir? You only have a Q.
He's only been hit by like 1.
Especially in a lane swap. This is so dangerous. He's lane swapped against Maokai Annie.
Well, he might pay for it because Trace and Che are about to come in. There's a flash stun. Faker gets exhausted as well. Chaser comes in. He's not getting out of this one. No way. First blood going to GBM, and Faker, you know, he dodged those lay waste very nicely, but you can't dodge the 1v4, can you, Faker?
That's why it's dangerous. Like,
he went a little bit overboard there, yeah. Jeez. Oh, Faker. Things Faker does.
Good gank, though. And let's talk about how Jin Air did that, because Jin Air against GE, they also had a really nice gank onto Kuro. So how did they accomplish that? Well, for those of you who weren't paying attention, Annie and Maokai went to Wolves, and then Annie helped Leash to get Trace level 2, all the experience. Meanwhile, we saw Chaser start at red, so they actually collapsed in a pincer movement on the mid lane.
Speaking of collapsing, Marin getting collapsed on right now by Jin Air. There's a knockup. He's in a bit of trouble now. No flash, of course, and that's another kill for Jin Air. Well, here we go again.
Jin Air's early games are so crisp. That was a great move.
Yeah.
And it was totally tailored to Faker. You know that Faker plays that aggressively. You do. He always does. And so in that situation, he's not going to expect people coming from both sides of the lane like that and having that Maokai. So really good level 1 from Jin Air to set it up, and then they transition it immediately into another gank on the top side. Chaser basically hasn't jungled.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, he's got an assist, so he's gotten gold at least.
Yeah, he took out his red, and that's about it.
Whenever you see Che on Annie, too, you know that mid lane gank is coming pretty fast. Like, Faker should have been aware that this was going to happen.
Well, SKT held it together in the last game. It's only 800 gold down, and but getting this Karthus rolling early can be scary.
Sure can. I mean, a kill on the mid laner and a kill on the AD carry. You really can't ask for any more if you're Jin Air. And look at all the damage they have on this turret already, too. Here comes Wolf and Bengi, though. They may have overstepped it. Pilot gets knocked back a bit, uses a quick draw. Nice flash play, double. Che is in big, big trouble. Looks like he's going to sacrifice his life for his carry, and Marin able to pick up the first kill for SK Telecom.
And Pilot had his vision, his ward available right there. They didn't have any vision in the...
Oh, okay.
Right by the Krugs in order to see whether someone was coming into lane or not. So played a bit too aggressively. Marin actually used his Hecarim Q right there, very well right there, getting past Che and then shoving him back.
Yeah.
But Che without that flash, the obvious target. Pilot also shouldn't have used his heal, but...
I think that's a Hecarim E, actually, that knocks back.
Oh, you're right, yes. It's, it is easy.
Oh, another flan to Pilot. He had to use his flash early on. Bengi needs to be careful. Whoa, there we go. Knock up from Chaser. Yeah, he flashed into that one. Can Che get the stun? Yes, he can, but Bengi gets out on the Lantern.
That was
close call there.
EQ flash, so it doesn't do damage, but it does get the knockup.
Yep.
If you hit that.
That's right.
They're not going to be able to convert it into anything. Trace.
Wow. That tree is filled with spears.
Absorbing a bunch of spears, but not subject to rend. He walks out of range.
Yep. Oh, Bang getting a little bit of CS, but look at this, though. 44 to 28. So Bang able to farm quite well against this Maokai, of course. With all the action on the Jin Air side, it's cost Pilot and CS a bit. He should be able to catch up pretty quickly, though.
They've also been hard pushing this turret.
Yeah,
so
that's true, too.
It could even up if they do end up taking a tower advantage right here. GBM is close to 6 now, about 2/3 of a level out. So it's going to change things.
Oops. Oh, he got
in the side lanes. He's missing some CS, though.
Yeah, well, trying to get some damage onto Faker, but it's just not going to work very well against Vlad because he's going to be healing up a little bit. He's going to be dodging a lot of them. Not that one, but a lot of them. Wow. He has dodged the vast majority of the layways that were directed at him.
Well, started boot spots, so.
Yep.
But he hasn't had a chance, even with that forced early recall after that first blood. Now GBM going for a blasting wand before Catalyst, bold. But he can't abuse Faker before Faker hits level 9, so.
The idea, too, is that if he needs to use that Requiem, he can just add a little bit more damage onto it and help Jin Air kind of snowball this lead.
Okay, so Trace will be Marin up in top.
Yeah. Well, tank battles yet again.
Yeah, but Trace has the advantage right here. 2 Doran's items and a Ruby Crystal.
Yeah, he does for the moment.
Also, the nice thing about facing Hecarim is Q, which is Rampage. I forgot that was his Q instead of his E. But yeah, his Q will make sure that your passive is up quite frequently, so you actually get some good sustain going on there. Maokai can do well against champions that spam abilities in the laning phase, even if he does take a lot of damage, but at least there's a little bit of upside.
Yep, Pilot finally getting a chance to freeze this lane a little bit and get some more CS. And will we see a Dragon from SK Telecom soon? It's going to be tough with the bot lane for Jin Air there. Can they save this pink ward? Oh, okay, he's going to blind grab Che, actually. Che taking a lot of damage, has to flash away. Chaser coming in, though. Yep, that's a kill onto Wolf. Bang on the run now. Turning around for another auto onto Pilot.
Really greedy right there. Yeah. GBM also had his ult up, and you have to remember that there's no way for Faker to interrupt Karthus. So I think that was not a good move to try and attack that right there, especially Pilot was already 6, used his ult, and picked up another kill as a result. And they still have Requiem also. So
pretty dangerous.
I mean, best case scenario there, you trade 1 for 1 if you're SKT. Because even if Wolf survives that, they kill Che, Requiem comes down and he dies. So.
Right. Well, it's going to be a Dragon and taken by Jin Air. They're going to turn on to Benki now. Faker getting exhausted, but he's going to come in anyway. GBM very, very low, but he's Karthus. It's okay. Still doing damage. Flashes ahead for a little bit more. Benki goes down. That's 2 kills for Jin Air. Now they're turning. Here comes Requiem. Can they kill Bang afterwards? He flashes away just in case.
They're still going to go, though, is the thing.
Yeah, they're going to dive. There's a stun on the Bang. Actually, Che may have wanted to save that, but I think they're still not going to dive that quite yet.
They can just bottle him up right here. The wave is coming.
Oh, Trace coming in, taking a lot of damage. Trace, what are you doing, buddy? Going in way too early. That cost Jin Air a couple kills right there.
There was no teleport from Marin. They had that 100%.
Yeah. Trace just getting a little bit overeager.
They just had to wait for the wave.
Yep, they don't get the turret. They don't get the kills. Huge mistake by Trace there.
That was a really big misplay by Jin Air.
Yeah.
And now Marin's going to get some time to proxy farm under the turret. He's up 20 CS as a result. Yeah. And that tower taking a ton of damage in the top side.
That was a pretty massive error by Trace in the bot lane.
Wow.
A little bit of miscommunication for Jin Air. That cost them big time.
Interesting. That was really surprising that he would do that after they already picked up those kills right around the Dragon.
Yeah, it's not something
that
you would
Dragon
do a lot.
fight again. So Benki tries to delay them as long as possible, but Faker gets stunned right at the start of this run. GBM manages to stay alive for a surprisingly long time. Gets the flash forward Bang, and then he'll force one out of Bang as well with the Requiem. He gets a bit too low. As we move forward right here, there are only 3 people on the map.
Yeah, the wave was coming. And Trace just decides to twist the advance in there.
Wow.
Whoops.
And they used 2 summoners for that too, Heal and Trace's flash. Yikes.
Yeah, it was not good.
Don't really know what was going on right there.
Miscommunication. Oh, Faker slowed down with that wall of pain. He's going to pop the Hemo Plague anyway. Might be in trouble. There's a Cataclysm. Yeah, Faker, he's not getting out of that. There's a kill for GBM. And GBM with a pretty good start on this Karthus as well. 3-1-1 so far.
Call by Chaser. That's the problem with this Vlad against Jarvan.
Yep.
Is it's like Vlad versus Xerath. There's nothing you can do. And yeah, it's just, and you only have that single target too. The problem, it's even worse with Vlad because at least as Xerath, you can do some line damage or you can shoot outside of the pit. But basically with Vlad, if you just stand far enough away and poke Vlad while he's in there, all he can do is use transfusion, and that is awful.
Yep. No CC to speak of. It's pretty rough. But amazing fingernails.
Fabulous.
In a freaky way.
Fabulous fingernails.
Yeah.
Well, Marin, it does have, the hope right now is Marin and his split pushing capabilities. He's going to feel pretty comfortable with that big CS lead. He's got a kill already. Even though Bang has a couple, he went for just the Greaves for wave clear pretty quickly here.
Yeah. Oh, Marin taking a lot of damage here.
No mana either, so he can't stick around.
Escapes the Seedling, though.
But he can rock out on his sweet guitar.
Yep. GBM could have rocked out as well, too, if he would have picked the Pentakill Karthus skin. But he didn't.
So they need to keep abusing Faker while he has no flash. Cataclysm is going to be back up soon. Will they go for another gank on the mid lane? They've got kill pressure in all lanes right now, so this is a good situation for Jin Air to be in. Bengi's going to have to play very cautiously. We see those Sentinels going out for Kalista.
Faker not even with that Will of the Ancients.
Kalista also,
oops.
Maybe one of the reasons why she got tier 2 boots is she needs those to jump out of Cataclysm and she doesn't have flash.
Oh yeah, could be.
You actually have to have tier 2 boots to jump that wall. Interesting.
That is true. Well, Jin Air with a pretty good chance here, although it is still a fairly close game.
Marin is being as annoying as possible. This is really smart of Marin. He wants to just drive pressure into the top lane. If he dies right now, it's not that big of a deal. He has teleport up and can immediately get back into lane.
Yeah.
So
he's gotten a huge lead too.
If he can force Chaser to come up there, it's actually good for SK Telecom in this moment where it is a bit dicey for them.
Yeah,
there are a lot of opportunities for Jin Air to get kills right now.
Yep, they're going to try to do it in bot lane here. We'll see if it works. Bang coming down. Ooh, yeah, you need to be so careful. They know a bunch of, there we go, Sentinel coming in.
It's not going to see them. It's not going to see them.
Oh, it sees Chaser, though.
They walked out of the brush.
Oh, okay, interesting. Well, nice try.
I think actually they could have avoided being seen if they hadn't walked out of the brush. They could have actually, I think, squeezed around the side of the vision based on the angle.
Dragon in 40 seconds now. First one did go to Jin Air. So will SK be able to, or SK Telecom be able to set up enough of a team fight to contest this one?
Jin Air deciding to go for double Rod of Ages this game, so a lot of stacking early. So they really have changed their tactic. I mean, you have a lot of item choices that you can make on.
Oh, Onslaught of Shadows, they get the flash on a Trace. Good trade for the ult.
Yeah, you have a lot of choices you can make on Maokai and Karthus, obviously, but going for double Rod is the one you want to have the most punch in the late game. Wow, Trace is playing this really risky, actually.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. Bengi coming around from behind. He just used his flash. I don't know what Trace was thinking here. I don't think he's going to make it out of this one. Twisted advance back onto Marin. Marin a little bit low health, but Bengi, they should be able to focus him down. And this is right before Dragon. Dragon is up. Is Requiem enough? No, not quite. GBM and the rest of Jin Air, though, able to claim that Dragon. So SKT did end up trading a kill in the top lane for the Dragon.
You have teleports still, so it's not the end of the world. And that CS lead hasn't gotten any bigger. Uh-oh.
Whoa, stun on the Bang, and he is completely caught. There's the Cataclysm, flashes away. It's not enough. Wolf on the run now, and Jin Air, yeah, a little bit too dangerous to follow that one.
Faker's just going to take the Rift Scuttler right now. He's actually on an invade. They want to dive this as soon as Marin comes back, or Trace comes back up, but he's not going to use TP. So they won't have an opportunity. They were hoping Trace would TP to lane right there. So right there, that map movement was saying, if he TPs the lane, we're going to kill him and dive the turret. and kill the turret. If he doesn't TP, we're going to kill the turret. So that was actually really smart by SKT. They covered all their bases right there.
True enough.
So they get that turret regardless for that dragon. It's nice, very nicely done. But they're going to trade turrets in the end.
Yeah. It just doesn't seem wise that SKT just allowed Jin Air to have that second dragon as well, too. It seems very risky.
Well, they decided to make the play up top, so they made a decision that they would be giving it up if GBM and the rest of Jin Air were ready. And the fact that GBM popped Requiem right while they were doing it, too, meant that everybody was chunked. So any fight that comes out of that is very difficult.
It's true.
Marin was low enough, so Trace takes the hit for the team. But Trace doesn't have to worry so much about being behind early.
Yeah, he's still going to be a big tank late game. Nothing's really going to stop that from happening. But can SKT, risk any more dragons going to Jin Air? I feel like it's when you hit 3 stacks, that's when it starts to get a little bit iffy in that you're going to be fairly close to 5.
Yeah, we're so even in this game, though.
Yeah.
And Bang is going to be going, oh man, looks like maybe he'll go Ghostblade. Okay, well, quick push for Jin Air. They managed to take another outer. No defense at the bottom side. Trace really being very conservative with his teleport usage this game.
Yeah, they're just going to trade turrets again, so now it's 2-2.
Trace is really worried that he's going to get dove. He thinks he's going to get dove every
time.
Flash
onto Marin. There's the stun. There's the Cataclysm. They caught him in the end of his ult, but here comes Faker to turn this one around. They still got the kill onto Marin, but Faker going deep. Can they get the damage? There's the stun coming in from Jay again. He flashes ahead. Can't get it. Double kill now for Pilot. Meanwhile, Wolf in big trouble underneath the turret. Jin Air's not done yet. There's the box. Not going to stop anything. So 3 kills and a turret going to Jin Air. That was a pretty big mistake for Faker to follow that one, it looks like.
Well, he just doesn't have that damage yet, and the turnaround was so good from Jin Air, kiting out beautifully.
They didn't even have Requiem for that, too.
No, they didn't. They didn't need it. GBM was there at the right time. Look how many wards are in topside as well. Jin Air absolutely lighting up the jungle. They'll take a tier 2 as a result. Yeah, they can't recall right there.
Yeah, well, or maybe. There's an ult. Marin coming in over the top. A lot of damage on the Pilot.
GBM's
a lot of damage on the Jay, but look at all that burst. GBM
well, that was a favorable trade for them at the very least.
Yeah, they got the bot lane. GBM wasn't quite able to turn it around. They lost Marin again, though.
That was a good response.
1 for 2?
For SK Telecom. But GBM really scary right now. 4-1-2 at Karthus by 18 minutes. He goes back, picks up, and completes his Zhonya's Hourglass.
Well, right now, Pilot is actually doing a decent amount of damage, too. So.
Oh, yeah.
It seems a bit.
Graves is so bursty early on. Can't wait to see that replay, actually. And Bang, is he going Shiv for wave clear? What is he doing? They have very low range wave clear this game. It's a big problem for SKT. They have melee wave clear basically right now, unless Bang gets a Shiv. Because Vlad's wave clear is pretty short range, like this, to walk up to the wave. Yep. Thank you for the demonstration, Faker.
Yeah. Get close enough to suck the blood, because he's a hemomancer. Not a vampire. Hemomancer.
Okay. SK Telecom already trying to set up around drag. Really good early drag setups for both teams in this game so far. In both these games.
Yep, they've got 2 so far.
And GBM has really been showing up on this Karthus.
Yeah. It's the second game now where we've seen him play it really well.
The one concern for Jin Air is that by buying this static Shiv, do you set yourself too far behind in the late game? Yeah, you've got some really good burst, but Phantom Dancer, really quite good. You want to do some work there. Try and use Fate's Call.
Fate's Call, and well, it was ambitious. It was an ambitious attempt, but not going to land that death sentence.
No TP's up, and Trace is here. Marin is still top, actually taking Krugs right now.
Bang picked up a Quicksilver Sash as well, too, so.
Oh, man, he's not going to do any damage.
Yeah.
Well, he's useless, pretty much.
I guess so. And do you really, I suppose you need it against Annie, you need it against Maokai, I suppose, theoretically as well, too, but
Yeah, well, they don't even have to focus him right now. Honestly, Jin Air's now in a particularly good position because Hecarim's still pretty squishy.
Yeah, you'd think that Bang would just be going for more damage at this point.
Okay, you have QSS, but Graves can just unload with collateral damage on your team, and he's going to do way more than Bang will with that QSS.
Well, they're really going to be counting on Bangi, Marin, and Faker to sort of keep people occupied while Bang does damage. But
Faker also went Spirit Visage over going for Zhonya's. Not sure I agree with that either. Yeah, his sustain's going to be good. So SKT basically saying that they want to outlast the opposition. That's the way they're going to win team fights, but I really don't think that's going to happen.
Well, Jin Air trying to move towards their third dragon right now.
Marin with the flank, but he doesn't have TP, so he can't home guard.
Coming in, there we go, ult from Bengi. Can they follow it up? Dragon actually taken by Jin Air anyway. Cataclysm goes down. Faker in the middle of everybody doing a lot of damage with that Hemo Plague. And meanwhile in the back, Bang chasing GBM down the river. Faker's still alive for now. Finally goes down. GBM picking up a kill there. But over the wall comes Wolf with a big play after that Fate's Call. Bang still full health. And SKT is going to win this team fight. Or they might pay for it. Requiem only gets GBM 1 kill. And that is an ace for 2. Wow. 3 dragons for Jin Air, but SKT played that pretty perfectly.
Chaser stayed in the dragon pit for way too long right there. They got the dragon, but what price is it going to cost them? Because he wasn't there to create the necessary zones to keep his team alive. Bang's going to get the turret, so watch this. Chaser's going to stay in the back line right here. Great ult from Bengi. Look at that. Hemo Plague 2 on 4 members.
Really good.
Chaser gets it, but Chaser has to use Cataclysm. That's really traps more members of his own team than anything else. Actually, that Cataclysm was awful. And that was the main problem, is Chaser just couldn't do anything. If he had been able to Cataclysm at the front of that fight, I think it's an easy win for Jin Air, but Chaser there focusing on that dragon. It's actually amazing that Wolf didn't die to the... How did he live through the Requiem?
Just barely did.
I think they used Summoner Heal, actually.
Oh, yeah, could be. Meanwhile, a little bit of a fight near this blue buff. Marin a little bit of trouble. They get the Death Sentence onto GBM. That allows for the disengage. And so SKT not getting the blue buff, but they do make it out with their life.
Yeah. Wow, tying up Maokai on their front line in the Dragon Pit was really bad for Jin Air. Really bad.
Yeah. That gave Bang a lot of gold. He's got his Static Shiv done now. It's a little bit more damage, but still not that much. But still, I mean, if you can have a fight like that, he was untouched in that fight.
Yes. Yeah, well, of course, all the front line was stuck inside Cataclysm.
Yep. Well, that's just what SKT is going to have to try to get to have happen, right? They need to recruit Chaser. He came over to the dark side that last fight, but see what happens. Faker able to get quite a boost as well, too. Still an extremely close game. Kind of the big story here, I think, is that Jin Air was still able to get that dragon, so they do have 3.
That is very important. Obviously, Faker moving his attention to the side lanes. I'll be interested to see what he gets next. Hopefully, he's going to get Zhonya's Hourglass. I mean, SK Telecom running on very low damage comps tonight overall, but they're making it work just through the extreme tankiness that they are bringing into these games.
Yeah, they don't have the burst, but they've got the sustain.
Yeah, the issue that they face, though, is they still do have to go all in against a Karthus, and that is highly damaging to them, even with this locket.
True.
Trying to set up a pick, not going to work. Difference between Trace and Mar in this game is absolutely massive, though. Trace has taken a lot of hits for the team so far.
Yeah, not quite the tanky Maokai they need him to beat just yet. Doesn't even have that Frozen Heart done. Only the Glacial Shroud. Jin Air is still very much in this, though, but it's slipping. It's slipping just a bit.
Well, at least, if you're Jin Air, at least you can choose how this game goes. You have the massive dragon lead, so there's not so much pressure on you from that front.
Yeah, I mean, Jin Air, no stranger to the super late game. They can give SKT a couple of the dragons just to kind of get themselves back into it item-wise.
Yeah. And wait out, because Hecarim just isn't as useful as Maokai in the late game. That 20% damage reduction that Maokai gives you is so good, especially against Faker, who's going to be trying to pump up his team's damage with the Hemo Plague. It's a very good counter to neutralize Vlad.
I mean, I think you do have to consider the scary aspect of SKT getting that first dragon, though, getting that 6% AP and AD. At this point in the game, that actually is a pretty big damage boost for that team.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Especially against a tanky team like this.
It's like Pilot maybe going for a Bloodthirster as his next item, just to give him even more burst and try and make him a bit safer to getting caught out.
Well, SKT trying
Pilot
to make
also
a
with
pick
the
here.
QSS, by the way.
OGBM, OGBM. Oh, Bengi comes in, he throws the ult, he gets a slow on GBM at least. And there's a death sentence. This could be bad. Ganked by Mob. Zhonya's doing a lot of damage. Che comes in, tries to get the stun off Faker. Exhausted, but in the middle of the fight. Cataclysm canceled immediately. Pilot, very low health. Oh, flash death sentence for Wolf, and that's going to be a kill onto the AD carry of Jin Air. Meanwhile, Trace alone in the back lines with the rest of SKT, and they are going to win another team fight. No kills from that Requiem. SKT getting farther ahead.
Yeah, so close, Bengi and Wolf to going down, but the cleanup was great. Wolf hit a great death sentence right there to turn it around, and now
a couple of them actually.
SK Telecom coming in for this Baron. Che back up right now, but Trace a long time down, no TP. Faker just pushing the lane, making sure his team can get the Baron, and they're going to get it.
They will, and they're not going to kill Faker either. So there we go. Baron taken.
Huge turn right there.
Yep.
Maybe should have just let GBM die. Pilot and Che went in immediately. Trace hit the teleport quite quickly, but he's just not tanky enough quite yet. He went for the cowl as his next item.
Yeah.
Faker now building into Zhonya's hourglass, and Faker got right into the back line and cut people off from helping GBM.
Yeah, SKT has just been playing all these team fights extremely well. Oh man, they've got Baron. Now they're going to get that first dragon and get that big damage boost at this point in the game. 6% AD and AP is a lot when you're 27 minutes in. So SKT with a team fight win, a Baron, and that first dragon.
Now,
huge boost.
Fortunately for Jin Air, the SKT's composition is really bad at sieging. So they can hold on here. The wave clear is good.
True.
It's a split push with Hecarim that they have to be the most concerned with.
Yeah, and losing team fights. They can't do that anymore. Yeah, Marin looking pretty strong on this Hecarim right now.
Oh yeah, he's completed 3 core items to 1 of Trace.
Well, SKT's just going to walk right up and take this mid lane turret, it looks like. Who's the Lantern for? Nobody.
Just for the sweet shields. Yeah. And that's the 1-3-1. Of course, Vlad, an excellent split pusher as well, so SK Telecom definitely playing this out correctly.
Going to take the blue buff too.
Vlad is such a terror in terms of split pushing in the late game.
Yeah, Faker building towards that Zhonya's now, but just mechanically, he's done a lot with this Vladimir. Not the best KDA, but he's really been effective in team fights.
I want to see that team fight again.
I don't know if we're going to get a chance. I wish we could too, Monty. Makes me sad.
But I need to see it to know why it went that way. Besides the hook coming in and the early pick as well, and then the follow-up hook, Wolf has been really good.
Oh yeah, man, 2 great death sentences in that last team fight. One onto GBM to start it off, and then over the wall to hit the one on Pilot. Really spectacular Thresh game. Last Whisper finish now for Bang, so the damage is getting up there with this Callista now.
Yeah, you can see he's a core item up.
Yep.
So he'll have that strength advantage in these team fights, and yeah, Jin Air looks like they're going to get 0-2'd here. Bit disappointing. I mean, Jin Air just can't quite catch a break. They played a very close series up against GE.
Yeah.
And also got 2-0'd, but it was a very close 2-0, and so has it been this series so far.
Yeah, I mean, Jin Air has the capacity to beat any team in this league, but not consistently. You know, it's going to, if you had like maybe 4 best of 3s, you could probably beat SKT in 1 or 2 of them, you know, but when it's 1 best of 3, it's a little bit tougher. Onslaught of Shadows used to go in onto Trace here. Trace uses the ultimate. Che coming in. I don't think Marin's going to be able to get a kill off of this. No, not quite, but it's a split push pressure that they're worried about it. You know, I think what this does, though, is just really solidify our top 3, right? And maybe even our top 4. Jin Air looks better than CJ. SKT looks better than Jin Air, GE. you know, at this point, it's actually kind of tough to tell, in my opinion, where they stand with SKT. But we do know that Jin Air, I think, is a solid third place in the league right now.
I agree with you. Absolutely.
Yeah, SKT versus GE is going to be great. This has been a good match, too. But
I've been so impressed with Jin Air at level 1. Their early game plans are so airtight.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, is that if they're able to sort of tighten up the other parts of the game, this is a team that will beat everyone.
It's so, when we're talking about games like this, it's very minor mistake. If Chaser had played that dragon fight better and not Cataclysm his own teammates in there, Jin Air would probably have a massive lead right now. They were looking so good up until that point.
Wow.
Bengi trying to kill pink wards in the base.
Why not, you know?
Hop over that wall on Sejuani. Got the lantern to bail you out if you need to.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that if this is a 2-0, which it's kind of looking like it might be, it's not a close 2-0. It's just like the GE series. Jin Air playing well, just like barely not enough.
Yep, indeed. Well, SKT playing a little bit of the waiting game right here because of that early dragon deficit. It may take a while for them to actually close, considering their best option is that 1-3-1 with Hecarim and Vlad.
Yeah, but they can wait it out. I mean, they can be confident in winning a lot of the team fights right now, and so they can kind of just keep loading up on dragons, barons.
Yeah, you have enough magic resist to deal with GBM also before he gets Void Staff. GBM is really far away from Void Staff. He has no magic pen at the moment, besides what he's got in Rinse and Masteries.
Yeah, everybody on SKT right now having a good amount of magic resistance.
Yeah, good builds from SKT all around, I think.
Yep.
And Faker coming into this series and just building very defensive items for the most part, showing the power of these more grindy team compositions and taking advantage of the tankiness of the current meta. And
well, SKT is just so scary. I mean, they seem to have transitioned so seamlessly into 5.5 that
this is kind of what I expected.
Yeah, you really got to wonder if it's going to be SKT winning the finals this season. I mean, we're not even in the playoffs yet, but
this is such
the way things are going, I don't know.
This is such a good meta for their play style.
Oh, yeah. Very true. Goodbye, Rift Coward. Well, minute till Baron, 45 until Dragon. And Jin Air is going to need to leave their base sometime.
Thornmail on Marin. He got so very ahead this game. He's on the cusp of the Flame Horizon right now.
3 CS away, 4 CS away, 5 CS away. Yep, 3, 4. He's very close. He's very close.
Oh, there he goes.
All right, the Flame Horizon has been broken by Marin. 100 CS ahead of his lane opponent, Trace.
And Trace lost a lot of CS to Turris because he was so afraid of Bengi diving him if that wave hit at the same time he walked up.
Yep.
And he also took a hit because he was the one who participated in that gank in the mid lane of Faker, but that just hasn't turned into much. Faker may be 2-5-5 this game, but he's still able to be a pretty impactful player in a lot of these team fights.
Yep, and now they can take Dragon, and they can walk right up and take Baron as well, too. Jin Air may want to try to contest it, but
they have to.
That's going to be tough.
Oh, Chaser used Smite right there. It'll be back up, though.
Yep. Well, it's just that 15-second cooldown if you've got 2 charges. That's right. Which I do like that change.
It's a great change. Yep. Really good change.
Well, it's kind of necessary with all the jungle enchants now. New weapons, you need it.
He just used his second Smite right there,
though. Okay, that wasn't very smart, because SKT is starting this Baron right now, and it looks like Jin Air is saying, all right, we're just going to go for the ultra late game if we can, but despite the lack of siege for SK Telecom right now, I think they're still going to have enough to start pushing into the base.
Yeah, they probably will, Doa. They probably will.
Unopposed Baron. Wow. Okay. Mercurial Scimitar for Bang now. There's another BF sword in the inventory.
Yeah, Pilot just lagging so far behind at this point as well.
Yeah.
Where are they going to go? Oh, Void Staff is done. That's actually very important for GBM. Maybe he can actually pick up some kills with Requiem now. Considering that most people haven't built any more magic resistance the last time they team fought.
It's true. Here we go. Going to come in, do a little bit of damage to that mid lane turret. Jin Air needs to try to defend this. They get the cannon minion. But the split push, the 1-3-1, doing work. Faker, they're going to go in onto him. He can back away pretty easily, though.
Look how much heal he has at this
Seriously.
point. You can't stop this split push. That's the thing, is this is such a good 1-3-1 with the Baron buff. Any trade you make is just foiled immediately by Hecarim and Vladimir heals. Look at this, he just walk up to the turret, he doesn't even care.
Nope, any damage he takes, he just immediately gets the health right back again. Oh no, a stun. Wow, SKT, they've got the tools they need. They played it safely, and they're closing this one out very methodically, very effectively. And what does Jin Air do? There's just really nothing they can do right now.
Nope.
Oh, they're going to go in on Trace. Trace backing away. That's going to give them the turret. Now the inhibitor at risk. GBM has already taken some damage. Will Che get a nice stun in here? It's not going to save the inhibitor. Nice ult from Bengi on that Sejuani. There goes inhibitor number 1. Meanwhile, that's another one going down as well. Jin Air just pushed back into their base. Are they even going to fight this? They have to try, but they're losing their second inhibitor right now. And SKT on the verge of taking this one 2-0.
SKT has closed this game so well.
Yeah.
Fighting back from that deficit.
Here we go. Coming in. Hemo Plague activated. Marin comes in with the Onslaught of Shadows. GBM tries to get back in the fight. SKT taking some decent damage. Bengi low. Pilot has not been touched yet. No, now he has been. Here comes SKT. Requiem comes down. Is it enough? A triple kill for GBM, and suddenly Faker has to back off. This one not over quite yet.
Nice
flash knockup. Can they lock him down? They don't quite get him with the Twisted Advance. There's a flash from Faker. They're going to have to let him go.
That was a good last stand, actually.
No kidding. Well, sometimes Karthus just presses arm, man. What can you say?
That's that Void Staff difference
that
I was talking about. He had Void Staff, he had Sword Shoes that time, so suddenly his Magic Pen really amping up in that last team fight. It made a world of difference. Are they going to be able to defend in this game? Probably not, but let's take a look at this one again. Not the best Hemo Plague there from Faker. Did hit the trigger a little bit too early. Also, look how much damage GBM does with Defile. He hits nearly everybody for that entire engagement right there. Bang gets obliterated.
Man, Pilot was able to get a lot of good attacks in there anyway. His damage may be a bit lower, but he had plenty of time to do it. 2 inhibitors down, though, before Jin Air was able to win that fight, so it's still dire straits.
Yeah, Faker will get his Void Staff down, too. That's another big item purchase complete for him.
True. Another BF sword for Bang, because why not? And Mikhail's close to being done for Wolf now. But with the QSS on the AD carry already, it's not as vital.
So you want to place bets on how long it is until we see Zilean in the current meta?
Hopefully not too long. I really like the new Zilean. And they lowered the cooldown on his Q in the last patch too.
Yeah, think about this ultra tanky meta. That's what happens. Zilean returns every time.
Yep. Yep. Gets to bring people back. The zoning that you can do with his bombs now is very, very cool. And, you know, delivering the bomb on a Hecarim or something sounds like fun to me. Yeah, I love the Zilean changes. SKT coming back. Trying again. Baron buff gone now, of course. Less than a minute until Dragon, though.
Marin is like 2 core items up on Trace, so this is a really hard battle for Trace to win right here.
Yeah, he's just hanging out in the base right now, just keeping the super minion waves pushing, and here comes SK Telecom. Just bulldozing their way in. There goes the inhibitor turret. Now they're going after the inhibitor
Jin Air
again.
has to engage.
Trace needs to do something, and Requiem just came up for GBM. It is time. Huge ult from Bengi, though. Pilot stayed out of it. Can he do enough damage? Hemo Plague goes down. GBM in the middle. Pops that zone. Bengi's going to get taken out. Wolf and the rest of SKT already backing out. Here comes Requiem. Is it enough?
Tibbers
no
missed.
kills. Tibbers did miss. Faker still jumped on, able to pull out of that one. They're going to turn around again. Pilot in the middle of everything goes down, and SKT, I think that's what they needed to end this one right here. Chaser's going to get taken out. There's a double kill for Bang, and Chaser, you're running the wrong way, buddy, man. Your base is the other direction. Faker's going to pick up another kill eventually. Well, I think the rest of his team's just going to go in. There we go. There's the ace. And SK Telecom, despite the valiant effort from the Jin Air Green Wings, will be able to close this one out 2-0. Jin Air a solid 3rd place, and SK Telecom after tonight. Watch out, GE Tigers. This was it's looking like a serious match coming up here.
Yeah, it will be at the end of this season. We'll see how we'll see how both of these teams actually take it, Doa, because now, as long as SK Telecom win their next match against Samsung, they will be locked into 2nd place, GE locked into 1st place, how willing will they be to show their strategies? I'm not sure that's going to be a great game, really.
Well, we'll see. I mean, Samsung is, not exactly the greatest team, so I don't think SKT is going to have to really show a whole lot to beat them. But Jin Air, again, it's a tough loss for these guys. Another pretty valiant effort. It was a 2-0, yeah, but it was another close 2-0 for
really
Jin Air.
Close.
I think it, like we said earlier, it just solidifies Jin Air as the third-place team in Korea.
Yeah, and SKT fighting. Indeed,
yeah.
They fought quite well tonight.
He got his wish, man. SKT with the 2-0.
I hope Wolf gets MVP after that. Wolf was very good that match.
Oh, man, his death sentences were pretty spectacular. Yeah, I think you could make an argument for Marin as well, too.
Well, with that, though, we do see SKT and Jin Air split 1-1 on the season. Both matches 2-0, actually. So this time, SKT gets the upper hand. See how Jin Air adapts. Hopefully, we'll see some changes to these AD carries where they are more effective against some of these ultra tank lineups. But SKT taking really well to this new meta. In fact, being pretty innovative, just running these full tank compositions.
Yeah, and running them really well. I mean, Faker played a great Anivia in game number 1. Was a bit over-eager in the beginning of game number 2 with that Vladimir, but came back with some very solid team fighting and split pushing. Yep, so SK Telecom gets that 2-0. And a little bit quicker night than I thought we'd have tonight. But man, it was only 2 games, but that match delivered. That was 2 great games.
Very good games indeed. And so Jin Air still have some work to do. Go mostly in the pick and ban side of things.
Yeah.
Make sure they have the appropriate champion pools right here, and start thinking about diversifying, particularly their AD carry picks.
I think things. You just said it. I was going to say that I think things are going to be particularly tough on Pilot. He needs to adapt. I think it might be time to bring back Captain Jack and that Caitlyn.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Captain, if you need a guy who's going to play those auto-attacking carries, I think Captain Jack's going to be your guy, man. Vayne, Caitlyn, he's no stranger to that style of play. So
yeah.
Pilot stays maybe numbered in the starting roster here. We'll see how he can adapt.
Yeah, that said, though, Bang, we saw him start this season with a lot of auto-attacking ADs, and we know he played tons of Caitlyn on SKTS.
Oh, yeah.
Tons.
Yep. Mountains
of Caitlyn. All right. Of course, we will be going to that MVP interview.
But first, we'll see who the MVP is. It's going to be Bengi, 1-4-15. Played a very solid Sejuani game. All in all, a great night for Bengi. A jungler that's had it a bit tough, but hey, the meta's back in Bengi's favor, and that means Bengi is back too.
He had a rough first half of the season, but he really has been very good in the second half. His control over vision, his counter jungling have been excellent.
Jarvan's been much better too.
In the last, SKT's on a 5-match win streak right now. Can't really complain with his play over that duration. And here we go. Seeing some punishment right here. Trace messing up pretty badly right there. Just walking right back into that wave after he already blew his flash.
These aren't the most mechanically amazing plays that we're seeing from Bengi right here.
But it doesn't have to
There we go. That's better.
This is a really good setup. They do trade 2 for 1 by getting Pilot and Che. You can see GBM's damage pretty intense.
Yeah. Not intense enough to stop that double kill. There we go.
Oh, Chaser. If he had just let this dragon go.
And look at that. I mean, the Cataclysm just really ruined Jin Air in that fight.
That was really the turning point right there.
It was, yeah.
Chaser had a chance to get right over the wall onto the back line of SK Telecom and chose to bottle his team up instead.
And Faker just had a party in the Dragon Pit with Jin Air there.
Yeah.
Not something you want to have happen if there's a Vlad on the other team.
I think if Jin Air plays that fight properly, they win that game. But they don't. SK Telecom takes advantage of it. Bengi does land a very good ult. And SK Telecom.
That was a good emo plague.
Turns it around.
Yeah. Yep, and in the end, at least, GBM got that cool triple kill moment with Requiem. That always feels good. That's always fun. And this was the final fight. And, once they got Pilot as well, too, you knew this one was pretty over in that final fight. So now it is time for the MVP interview. And once again, June bringing us the translation as always.
Oh, nice of Faker to label himself in case we got confused.
I wasn't sure who that was.
I'm going to make a hat that says Monty. And you can wear it.
Thanks. I'll wear it.
Thank you for that.
Anytime.
Let's get into an MVP interview with Faker and Bengi with 2 exciting games. Interview with Faker first. So you played Anivia. Anivia's wall proved to be too big for Gank by Mom. How do you feel right now? We prepared the comp in the first game really hard in scrims. Like we practiced that comp really hard. So I think results were expected to be positive. Before the debut as a professional gamer, I enjoyed playing in Nivea, and in recent times I played in Nivea and it worked out pretty well in solo queue. So we started practicing it in scrims, and the results were pretty good. So we decided to pick it today. So there's a saying that Nivea has walls, so isn't it Gank by Mom's weakness?
Good point.
Didn't really realize it, but when we picked it, oh yeah, Nivea has wall. Must be GBM's weakness. So what were your thoughts when Trundle got picked? We didn't really predict a Trundle pick. I think Trundle was a good pick for them, to be honest. So Jin Air must have prepared really hard against us as well. So in early game it was tough. Did you feel that you would win it in the late game, as you always think? I always think, I'm always really confident about my late game prowess and our team's late game decisions, so I was really confident. But however, I was kind of disappointed in game 2, my Vladimir play. I could have carried harder. So in game 1, like your comp, it really shown during team fights. You know, getting Trundle stuck on walls in dragon fights, turning around fights, etc. So what are your thoughts? We had really good synergy. We were able to communicate really a lot with my teammates. So I think the team fights went really smooth because our synergy and communication was so great. So there was a scene where you, Bengi took blue 2 times in a row when you're playing Anivia. I was really surprised and flustered when I stole it. And the second time I was kind of scared, and the third time I was so scared that I didn't even use any skills on the blue buff on the blue buff. So. I told Bengi to recall on the second blue buff, so I can solo it alone. But Bengi, being a nice guy, tried to leash for me, and the blue got stolen, so I was kind of upset.
I'm Bengi and I'm helping. Stare to the camera, Faker.
So in the second half of split, unbeaten. So any plans for the future? We'll win our next 2 games. We're doing really well. I'm very confident, and our aim is to win all the games this second half of the season. So I hope we won't disappoint you fans. Now an interview with Bengi. Well, thoughts right now is I thought I didn't play out the first game very well, so I tried my hardest in game 2. So you lost against Jin Air in the first round, Robin. Did you prepare anything special for the second time meeting? We prepared a lot. It's picks like Alistar, and it worked out pretty well at the end. So there was a mid gank at level 1. What were your teammates saying when Faker got 4-man ganked? Well, Carthus lost his flash in the early game. Faker told me to come, but I decided to go top actually. At level 1. I didn't really expect them to come at all, but I just died because they came. I think it was my mistake ultimately. So in the later parts of game 2, when you got triple killed by Carthus, what were your comments? We were a bit surprised when Carthus triple killed, but with Requiem. But I think we got the late game on lockdown, to be honest. Even though he got a triple kill, so we weren't worried much. So if you just win one more game, you're locked in at second place. So how do you feel? I think we're up against Samsung in one of our remaining games, so I think we should just win those games. It's predicted that we predicted to win those games, so I think second place, we should be able to achieve it. So we are unbeaten in the second round robin, but we'll try our hardest as always and try to finish the season undefeated in the second round robin. Okay, so that's the end of the interview. Monty and Dora, back to you guys.
All right, thank you, June. And there you go, a 2-0 for SK Telecom T1, one step closer to locking in second place. All they need to do is beat Samsung next week.
Yep, and that should be relatively easy for them, I believe, unless there is a staggering upset in store for us.
That's right. So today's results, Najin with the 2-0 over Incredible Miracle. Pretty expected. Najin just by far the better team, and I am, again, after losing Wisdom in the jungle, just getting no traction at all, and I don't know if these guys are going to be able to win a match for the rest of the season.
I hope Najin is stabilized in terms of their consistency, because they played very well earlier tonight.
True enough, and speaking of playing well, SK Telecom and Jin Air both showing us great games in our second match. A 2-0 for SKT, but it was a close 2-0, a great pair of games.
Yeah, really good series, and also SK Telecom adapting extremely quickly to this new meta. Of course, those jungle changes really making a big, big difference in how team compositions play out, and we're going to see how fast some of these other teams can adapt as we move into the playoffs in a couple of weeks.
Man, 5.5 has been great. 9-3 now for SK Telecom in second place, and again, all they need to do is beat Samsung to lock that up. Meanwhile, CJ and Jin Air, there's kind of the big question there. Who's going to take third? Who's going to take fourth? Who's going to have to fight the GE Tigers in the first round of the playoffs? It's a big deal.
Right, but we don't know how well GE's going to adapt. They lost their first match in the past week. How much stock did they put in that when they have things locked up?
How much are they really trying right now? Well, guys, next week, GE Tigers versus Najin. And GE, they lost that match to KD. Didn't look like they were trying that hard. They didn't really need to try at all in that match. They've got first place locked up. Nothing to gain from it. Why not take it easy, focus on the playoffs? We'll see if they can beat Najin, though. And then on Friday, it's going to be Samsung versus SK Telecom T1. We're at that point in the round where it's going to only be one best of 3 on Friday as well. And that could be SKT1's ticket to second place, or staying in second place.
Probably will be.
I think so, too. Be pretty shocking. That'd be like WE beating GE or something. That's crazy, man. Then on Saturday, IM versus KT Rolster. We'll see what happens there. I think KT is going to take that one pretty easily. And then CJ Entis versus Jin Air. a big match with big playoff implications.
Right. You could have kind of avoid. I mean, honestly, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. Do you want to face GE in the playoffs, or do you want to face SKT? I wouldn't want to face either.
There's no good options right now. You know, you'd have to expect Jin Air to be, you know, a little bit in the lead going into that one against CJ. I feel like they're the stronger looking team right now. CJ seems to be faltering a little bit, even though they have, you know, locked in at least 4th place. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that one. It's always a bit of a surprise whenever we have matches here in Korea or in Poland, I guess, too. Yeah.
Yeah, so should be interesting. CJ versus Jin Air. That will probably determine who takes 3rd place and who takes 4th place.
Yeah, it probably will.
If Jin Air wins, they'll tie, but they'll have a pretty big point advantage. And then we would expect both teams to close out their last games. So that could be a big deal. Be exciting, and that will help shape our playoff race as we head into the last 2 weeks. And then, of course, top 4 teams will go into a best-of-5 semifinal bracket for the next season.
Yep,
Exciting
seems
times.
likely. So go to ogn.azubu.tv, vote for your favorite super play. There are a lot of good ones this week, and you've got until I believe it's Monday to do that. But why wait? Go do it right now. I mean, you don't have to sleep, right? Or actually, you probably already woke up, so your day is ahead of you. Why not start it by watching some awesome plays, right? Right. There you go.
Also, sorry to the LCS regions for what SKT did to the meta for your playoffs today.
Oh, yeah.
I would like to personally apologize on behalf of SKT. Enjoy take time.
Who knows what we're going to see, guys. Well, we enjoyed it. We'll enjoy the matches next week, too, guys. Until then, thanks for watching. Doan Monte Cristo from Seoul, South Korea for League of Legends Champions Korea. Awesome week. It's going to be even more awesome next time around. We'll see you then. Have a great night. Have a great couple days, actually. And we'll see you next Wednesday for the next match of champions. I'm just going to keep going. Just waiting for it. There we go. See you next time.